Top of the Morning. I'm your host, Kevin Seidenstricker, and I'm standing here today at the Walters Art Museum in the beautiful downtown Mount Vernon Cultural District at 600 North Charles in downtown Baltimore. The reason we're here today is to celebrate the opening of an exhibition here at the museum titled The Book of the FAIYUM. Now, the FAIYUM was an oasis in ancient Egypt about 2 centuries before Christ to a century after. This book was recorded on a almost 50-foot length of papyrus, and 2 parts of this papyrus are exhibited here along with other statues. It's not about mummies, it's not about pyramids, but mostly about the fertility and the economic development of the area that grew up around the oasis. Specifically, the many gods that the people around the FAIYUM worshipped. One in particular, the lead god, was their crocodile god, Sobek. So this is a really interesting exhibit. We're going to talk to a few of the experts here today, and we'll be right back after a short break with them. Thanks for staying tuned. Good morning, and welcome back to Top of the Morning. We're here at the Walters Art Museum, and I'm standing here with Dr. Martin Nichols. Doctor, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for the great tour. It was very detailed, and I can't encourage everyone watching the show right now enough to please come down to 600 North Charles Street to the Walters Art Museum. This is incredible. Doctor, again, thank you so much. And can you tell us how long you've been with the museum?
I've been at the Walters for 2 years.
Just 2 years?
Yeah.
And you're already a subject matter expert on this.
Well, it's amazing material. One of the treasures of our collection is at the center of this show, so I have just been trying to keep up with it.
I can imagine it's been a pretty arduous task keeping up with it. What's been the highlight, the most pleasurable thing about this project for you?
The most pleasurable thing about this project has been touring museums of the world looking for loans to bring to Baltimore. I think seeing the reputation of the Walters Art Museum and of Baltimore throughout the United States and Europe, it's been very gratifying.
I think you told us earlier this exhibit combines 11 different countries or institutions
yes.
throughout the world.
Yes.
Can you name just a couple of those countries or institutions?
We have a beautiful limestone statue of the crocodile Sobek from the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford in England. We also have some beautiful works on papyrus and stone sculptures from the Metropolitan Museum in New York. We have treasures from the University of Michigan's Kelsey Museum. It really is a broad spread.
And this whole exhibit encompasses the book of the FAIYUM. And can you tell us just briefly about the FAIYUM?
So the FAIYUM is a region in Egypt to the west of the Nile. It's a fertile oasis in antiquity that was a center for religious ritual and prosperity.
Okay, about the time of?
This exhibition focuses on the Roman period, so the late 1st century BC into the 2nd century CE or AD.
Okay, and the crocodile was their sun god or their local god responsible for the sun and their prosperity?
So in that particular region they worship many gods, but the crocodile god Sobek was a very special god for them. And as you say, they worship the god Sobek sometimes in the form of Sobek Re, where he also became a sun god.
Okay. Everyone watching, please come down and see this awesome exhibit. Doctor, thank you so much,
for
the work you put into this. It really shows, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Hope to see you here.
We'll be right back. Thank you.
My welcome in front of the fantastic crocodile wall, not just because I felt like it might seem like it was going to eat me, but also because you've all just had your coffee and you still are drinking it. I'm still drinking mine. So really I thought it would be better to start here. I'm Julia Marjorie-Alexander. I'm the new-ish Executive Director of the Walters, and this is such a thrilling day for me to be here to congratulate Martin and everyone who's played a critical part in making this fantastic major international loan exhibition happen here at the Walters, and to welcome all of you and let you be the first to see. And I know how exciting it is to be the first to see these exhibitions because you know, we're not quite finished, so it really is exciting for you to see it before we are all ready. So we're very, very excited to let you in and get that sneak peek. This is the first major international loan show that I have the opportunity to introduce, so you'll have to forgive me for reading. But this is an exhibition that speaks to exactly where I am hoping to work with staff and the board and our constituents to take the Walters. We have 33,000 objects in this great collection, and we want to make each of you and every person who comes to Maryland, to Baltimore, to Charles Street, to our campus, excited about those objects that live here all the time. And this exhibition brings together part of a 20-foot, how long? 20-foot long papyrus, so that's ancient paper, early paper technology. I've got to get the word technology in there. Part of a papyrus that we have here. We've had this in our collection, and it's being reunited with its other half. So we are all about papyrus family values here. And we're bringing together these two parts of this major piece of antiquity for the first time in over 150 years. And I think it's really amazing that we're doing this because one of the things that Henry Walters did in his life before he gave his collection to the city of Baltimore, and one of the greatest acts of philanthropy of the 20th century, and one of the earliest acts of philanthropy of the 20th century, was to have a little bit of a competitive relationship with J.P. Morgan, who established the Morgan Library up in New York City. And the Morgan Library and the Walters are consistently vying for titles of having the best collection of incunabulae, the best collection of this and that and the other things, because of that personal relationship that J.P. Morgan and Henry Walters has. So it is not surprising that the other half of this object is, in fact, from works of art that were one, and we're kind of reuniting a relationship of an early 20th century frenemy relationship between J.P. Morgan and his friend slash rival, Henry Walters. So that's exciting, and it's really important to think about these objects of antiquity that were coming out of Europe, European collections, coming out into the world of collecting in the early 20th century, and the great work that collectors like Morgan and Walters did to preserve these works and make them accessible, as the Walters still tries to do, make them accessible to everyone so that they can see the treasures of the world. So, we are not just reuniting these two halves of this fantastically interesting papyrus, about which you'll hear from Martin, and I won't even try to go there because she's the expert and I'm not. But we're bringing them together with loans from 10 venues, 10 other major museums from Europe and the US. So this is not just looking at what the Walters has in the context of New York and Baltimore, but looking at what the Walters has and thinking about it in a really major international context. And that is exactly what we hope to continue to do. Every time we bring or create a special exhibition here at the Walters, we hope that each visitor will come and think about our permanent collection, what we have here all the time, in a new light. So we bring objects from 10 international venues and US venues to come together to help you re-see, if you will, that part of this manuscript that actually we have not shown publicly ever. Is that right?
Not all of them.
Yeah, so this is really an exciting moment. So this is we have not shown the whole thing, or even our part fully, ever. So it's bringing together these two objects for the first time, showing it for the first time ever. And the other thing that's really great about this is it's not just ancient art that we're putting on the walls. It's ancient art that has to do with themes that are still really important today. Economic prosperity, issues of water. FAIYUM was a great oasis. Issues of religion and spirituality and how daily life comes together with worship. So all of these are themes that were important around in the time that this manuscript was created. But these are also themes that are really important today. And this is why the museum is so important to our society and culture today. It brings issues that have been important for people from the ancient times until the present together in fabulous works of art that we can look at and realize that it doesn't just start with us. So, the other great thing about this exhibition is that Martin has really tried very hard to take us out of the Egypt only of King Tut. So while we do have some great mummies, and I would just like to point out the crocodile mummy, search and find, the little tiny crocodile mummy that we have here. This is not just the Egypt of mummies and pharaohs and Steve Martin. It is truly, again, something a little bit bigger than all of that. And that is really a tribute to Martin's thinking about how to bring out aspects other than those stereotypical aspects that we think of first, pyramids, mummies, and pharaohs when we think of Egypt. I can say those a few more times so that they're really ingrained in your head. So we bring together statues, reliefs, jewelry, ritual objects, and one of the interesting ways that we hope to bring people into this exhibition and enliven it is through the tale of the crocodile god Sobek. He's not the centerpiece of the exhibition, but he is one of the more immediate ways that we can all relate to how this exhibition helps us see these bigger, larger, maybe a little bit more serious issues. Although I was delighted, I have to tell you, to see that my pop culture side was not repudiated when I found out that it lost that big, big statue. That was so bad. That was kind of exciting. So, we do things that are of the moment here. This exhibition has been organized by the Walters Art Museum in partnership with you can get this from Mona, the Römer und Pelitzäus Museum in Hildesheim, Germany. I've not practiced that enough. But it is a partnership that we have had since our former curator, Regina Schultz. Many of you know her. She is now the director of that museum, so we have been working in deep partnership with them. The exhibition has been supported by major grants from the Seltz Foundation, from our very own Women's Committee of the Walters Art Museum, from Transamerica, the John J. Leidy Foundation, and by gifts from Francis and Rick Rockwell, Doug and Sonia Hamilton and Hamilton Associates, the Peter Bow and Barbara Stewart Fund, Nancy and Henry Hopkins, Diana and Frederick Alexander, and an anonymous donor. So I have to thank those individuals and those corporations deeply for making an exhibition like this possible. These exhibitions are not inexpensive. They really are a gift that we like to think about giving to all of our constituents, because they are major financial undertakings. Could not do that without the incredibly generous financial support of individuals and also companies like those I just named. So I do want to also thank, this project started out with Regina Schultz, who was, as I said, the former curator of ancient art at the Walters, and she is now the director of the Römer und Pelitzäus Museum in Hildesheim, Germany. As I've said, I'm going to keep saying it so it comes out. But I think that true and deep gratitude from all of us should go to Martin Nichols. Dr. Martin Nichols is our assistant curator of and Martin came to the museum after this project had kind of been born in concept. But it is through her great insight, her great work, her scholarship. She is not an Egyptologist by trade, but ancient art historians have to do everything from 10,000 BC in Greece, Rome, North Africa, and any other place that these traveling people went, up until about 10,000 AD. So that's 20,000 years of history over a big geographical area, and Martin dove into this and became an Egyptologist. So I really would like to thank her, and I know that she would agree that a project like this, she really is the tip of this pyramid. I'm not going to say iceberg, that's a different exhibition, but the tip of this pyramid, and these kinds of exhibitions are only possible through the incredible work of the various teams that we have here. From the gallery attendants who are going to be explaining it to the various visitors, from the docents who will also be teaching all the children and families that come through, to the educators who cook up those programs, to what happens before we open, which are the designers and the conservators. I always forget the conservation studio. The designers, the conservators, the people who build the cases. We have some spectacular casework in there that has been built in-house. And those people who go out and sell the store, our friends, and all of the events, special events, people who help serve you this fabulous food. And I've forgotten 20 other people, but really, all of this is a full bore. Every single person on the staff has something to do with it. And so Mona, who's brought you together today, she also is just the tip of the iceberg. So as you walk through, really do think about. We are in the moment of the government shutdown. Think about good old Hillary Clinton's idea that it does take a village. It doesn't just take a village, it takes a metropolis. So, thank you, Martin. I'm going to turn it over to you now, and I will wrap up at the end. But thank you, Martin. And Martin, really, I think you need to be are you taking us through?
I'll take you.
So drink and eat up quickly while she finishes her intro.
Well, thank you so much, Julia, and thank you all for coming here. So much of what we do at the Walters finalized in the way that it reaches the world through those of you who are in this room. We have a very special message at the Walters. The exhibitions that we do are often kind of niche in the ways in which they bring the latest scholarship to light, tell unique stories, and it's all of you who communicate that to the outside world. So it means so much to have you here this morning. Thank you for being here, and thank you for joining us in the exhibition, which is now almost complete.
Good morning and welcome back to Top of the Morning. Again, I'm Kevin Seidenstricker here at the Walters Art Museum, and I have the great pleasure of standing here with Ashley Boycher. Ashley, thanks so much for being with us here today and for your hard work on this exhibit. It really shows, it was really fascinating. We really enjoyed the tour.
Thank you for saying so.
Wow. How long have you been with the museum?
I'm coming up on just 3 years now.
Okay. And were you kind of a subject matter expert in any of this stuff before you came here?
No, I am not an art historian by any stretch of the imagination. I am a designer. My degree is in interior architecture and with a concentration in museum studies. So I went to school knowing that I wanted to work in museums. So I landed where I wanted to be.
Wow, good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now this exhibit for the Book of the FAIYUM took you how long to put together as the designer? You designed this whole thing, right?
The Book of the FAIYUM has been an idea of an exhibition that we wanted to do at the Walters for over 2 years probably. And we start having preliminary conversations as soon as it becomes prevalent that we could do this thing. So we've been talking about it for at least that long. And then probably about 18 months ago, we started to really shape together a development plan. And then we do preliminary research. We work really closely together as a team, the educators, the curator, and myself, to come to an agreement of what the message is that we're trying to send. And after about another, 10 months to a year of really heavy discussions and preliminary design work, about 6 months out, we start putting together construction documents and really planning everything. And everything is designed about 2 months before installation starts so that all of the casework and all the other construction elements can happen.
And were you lucky enough to be part of the team that traveled around to the 11 different institutions who all donated artifacts to this exhibit?
Unfortunately, no. Since I don't have a whole lot of intellectual property in the exhibition, Martin, the curator, and the conservators actually hold a lot of knowledge of the object. So they are much better representatives and ambassadors in that capacity when going to the other institutions.
Wow. Wow. So you did, you got to stay back and do all the hard work.
Well, we all work pretty hard around here.
I'm sure you all did. I'm sure you all did. Is there any one thing that's your favorite part of this project?
Well, the exhibition is an Egypt exhibition, but not your regular Egypt exhibition, is what is really exciting about it to me. That you're not coming here to see mummies or pharaohs or pyramids, which is all really exciting stuff. You're coming here to see this really exquisite, beautifully illustrated book. This papyrus is gorgeous. It's a religious text, it's a map, it's very multi-dimensional, and as far as our design concept went, that's really what we tried to focus on, is the multi-dimensional, multiple personalities of this one beautiful book.
And it is a beautiful exhibit. I think you were successful in trying to do that. Ashley, thanks again for taking your time to talk to us. And thanks again for your hard work. It's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back. today, we'd like to encourage our audience to come down and see this awesome exhibit of the Book of the FAIYUM in ancient Egypt. You won't be disappointed. It's open until late January, early February. We covered that earlier. Please come down and see the exhibit. And thanks for staying tuned today to Top of the Morning.